Let's see. What is Robert Storms, aka the Nickeling? He's like a Diet Coke the Quartering, have to say about the Batwoman recast. Batwoman goes full woke with new cast. Let's take a look.
Well, guys, WB and CW have chosen their successor for Ruby Rose's Batwoman. And you know what? I kind of saw this coming, to be honest with you. Isn't that right, Jimmy?
His comedy sketches aren't funny. He'll do cutaways to that sometimes, and it's not as funny as he thinks it is.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel once again. I am Robert Storms. As always, if you're finding me for the very first time, please be sure to click that like and subscribe button. Also, guys, in the pinned comment and description box below is a link to our Discord channel. Click the link, become a part of...
I point this out almost every time, but I'd like to point it out again. Oh, I have like not actual comic book covers, but I have like canvas prints of comic book covers, classic ones on my walls. So I like the aesthetic, but like every single cover is some sort of fat material, and it's so strange to me. Does this guy literally only jerk off to comic books? That's what I want to know. Because comic books are great. I love comic books. I especially love the Marvel comic books. I love them so much. But, like, why be so focused on the wank material? That's the least interesting part of comic books.
Of Storm Nation. Also, guys, if you enjoy the content here on the channel, be sure to click the join tier and become one of the premium members with exclusive content and all that good jazz. So, guys, we have a new Batwoman for next season's show. She's gonna...
For those of you who don't know, there's a Batwoman show on CW. Ruby Rose was originally playing Batwoman. She decided to leave for multiple reasons, including quite a daunting shooting schedule, and also she almost became paralyzed due to an accident. I don't mean like, oh, she could have, I mean almost. She was like that close to actually damaging her spine so bad she almost got paralyzed, and a stunt woman on the show actually did get paralyzed. So there are a lot of issues with the show. And she decided to leave at the end of this season, and now they're going to be replacing her with a new character to come on and take the mantle of Batwoman.
Gonna be replacing Ruby Rose, and they went out and got a black actress to play Batwoman.
Oh no! I can't believe he's about to complain about this. Who cares? Who cares? It's cool. Why do you care?
So let's go to the article, guys. I'm going to give you my opinion on this thing. So here's our new lead for Batwoman. I can't pronounce her name, guys.
I love her hair. It looks great.
Be honest, I cannot pronounce her name. Her last name is Leslie. I'm sorry. I'm horrible with names. I'm not going to even try to butcher this young lady's name. So
let me see if it says it in the new Batwoman. No, not Batman. Sorry. New Batwoman. Yavica, I would guess. No, Yavacia? Javacia. No, I can't do it either.
So I do apologize for that. Jacavia, I think it is. Again, Jacavia, I don't know. I don't want to butcher her name. But this is coming from Variety.
Javicia? Okay.
And this is a quote from her down here. And by the way, I just want to say, she is a beautiful, beautiful woman. I do...
By the way, he also, he says some creepy comments in some of his videos about the female actresses that are in things. Like, she is beautiful. That's fine. But, like, he gets creepy sometimes. Let's see if we actually get there. Dude Spanking Dude says, your show is great since I can have you on in the background while I do Final Fantasy 14 online quests. Well, I'm glad.
I want to say that before I give my input on this. I am extremely proud, this is coming from her, I'm extremely proud to be the first black actress to play the iconic role of Batwoman on television. And as a bisexual woman, I am honored to join the groundbreaking...
I'm pretty sure Ruby Rose was bisexual as well.
...show.
Let me look. Oh, no. Wait. Just lesbian? Were they just a lesbian? I'm pretty sure they go by they, if I remember correctly. Okay, they're a lesbian. My bad, not bi.
Which has been such a trailblazing for the LGBTQ community. This says Leslie here, and here's my thoughts on this, okay? This broke yesterday. We talked about it a lot last night on the live stream. It was the main topic on Storm's Live last night, and here's my thing. I already see people bitching about this. Oh, Batwoman's going full-on woke now. Like, a woke show's going woke and all this and all. And I can only give you my opinion on this. I am not going to judge anything until I see the first episode.
Oh, good. He's not going to be an asshole. Lately, he's actually had the opinion of, like, who the fuck cares? Watch the show. And I'm glad. I'm glad the Nickeling's not being such a reactionary piece of shit. That's nice.
Now, I wasn't a big fan of Ruby Rose. I don't think Ruby Rose is a good actress in the first place. But even then, I gave episode 1 a try, and it wasn't for me, okay? Now, I will say I looked up her IMDb, which we'll go to her IMDb right now. She has been in quite a bit of things. I'm not going to lie. Haven't seen her in anything. I have not watched any of this. And, again, gorgeous, gorgeous girl. And then, I went through some of her pictures. Again, very, very attractive young lady. And I am willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. That's what I'm going to do.
See what I'm saying? He gets a little creepy with the way he talks about it.
I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to tune in and see. And here's the thing. She's not playing Kate Kane, right? She is not playing Ruby Rose's character. This is a new character to this show. And people can go out there and they can throw out their hate videos and everything.
I like a lot of the DC shows, by the way. I like The Flash, and I haven't watched a ton of Arrow, but I like The Flash, and I like Legends of Tomorrow, and I like Supergirl. I've seen a little bit of that. So I gotta watch Batwoman at some point, but I don't know.
And I understand that my title of this video,
Titans, was good. I haven't seen Doom Patrol, though I have heard Doom Patrol's quite good.
and my thumbnail is very misleading because I am very much pro for this, okay? I'm all for this. I want to see what happens. Could this be a disaster? Absolutely. But I think it's wrong for us to judge something without even seeing anything.
Good for this guy for not being so good. Good. I think he's actually learning. That's a positive thing when anyone decides, hey, I'm not going to be a reactionary piece of shit. Not anymore, at least. I'm going to be accepting and understanding and, like, let's watch it. Good job. Good job, Robert.
So many people are running with it.
Oh, yeah, he needs to tone the creepiness down, but I'll take one step at a time with this.
Going, oh my God, this show's going full woke. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. How many young girls out there who are of color, whether you're Hispanic, black, or even Asian, or Indian for that matter, a young girl of color who would love to play Batwoman. It's like, oh man, I wish I was Batwoman, but I'm not because I'm not white. This gives them something.
He actually understands representation. Good job. Good job.
This gives them something. Just like Black Panther. That's right. Black Panther represented something different to the black community. This also represents something. Like, so many people hate Rey in the sequel trilogy. But what about all those young girls who love Star Wars that want to see...
I'm gonna cry. He's learned so much. Good job, Robert. Good job.
themselves represented on the big screen. Oh, I can be a kick-ass Jedi now. People are so in tuned with, oh my God, woke this and woke that, and SJW and SJW, and yes, it can get overwhelming. 2016 Ghostbusters, they're hitting you over the head. Supergirl hitting you over the head. Even Batwoman season 1 hitting you over the head. And full disclosure,
the like ratio is better than I thought on this. It's 245 to 49. That's pretty good.
yes, this could be hitting me over the head. But you know what? Instead of coming out and automatically doing a hate video, which so many other channels are doing, and probably making 5 times the amount of views that I'm doing, I'm actually coming out here and go, guys, pump the brakes. Let's check it out and see, and then judge. Again, my boy Anzo said last night, she could be a great actress, do the part real well. If it has shitty writing,
yeah, good for him. He's slowly. Now we just gotta get him to be a little less creepy and overt about his horniness. That'd be great.
Like it did last season.
Like you can be as thirsty as you want, but maybe not. Don't wear it on your sleeve quite so obviously.
Nothing's gonna change. You know, again, if they come out in here and they start hitting you over the head with all these basically political things like women this and like the suit for the women, and like if they do that, then they're shooting themselves in the foot. And I understand.
Thank you for
but
the follow.
why are we gonna sit here and automatically judge and hate something without any context and even giving her a shot in the first place? Look, this is
great. I'm gonna call this section A Tale of Two Chuds. And now let's see how the Quartering chose to cover this exact same thing. So we've seen how the Nickeling has changed and how he's, like, understanding of how inclusiveness can be a great thing. And to at least, if you're going to complain, wait until the show comes out and watch it before you sound like an idiot. Now let's see how the Quartering handled this.
I need you to fix his suit.
The suit is literal perfection.
It will be. When it fits
Black.
a woman.
Yikes!
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and finally, we have a Batwoman replacement, and ooh, doesn't check all of the boxes. Now,
here we go! Jeremy, you never disappoint with how big of a shitbag you are.
That's right.
As we all know, there are two races, white and political. So anytime someone who isn't white is in a thing, obviously it must be because of political correctness and not because they were the best person for the job. Fuck you, Jeremy. Dopes Monk, thank you for following.
just want to give you a brief history of how we got here. Now, I covered Batwoman quite a bit last year, a show that was plagued by some of the worst writing I've ever seen. Sure, it relied on a lot of the, oh my god, we're super woke, please watch our show, Slay Queen.
I haven't seen Batwoman, so I can't comment on this, but Jeremy thinks this about anything with women in it, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Marketing had never really materialized into a consistent audience. We've seen this play out time and time and time again. A very specific example, how about the latest run of Doctor Who on BBC?
Oh my goodness. The latest run of Doctor Who is many things. It's not super woke. They mention that the Doctor is now a woman sometimes, or use it as a joke, but, like, it's not the main thing going on.
Which ran on the, we have a woman Doctor Who, please watch our show.
That's not how any... Did you even watch it, Jeremy? That's not what the show was about the last 2 seasons. There's plenty of things to criticize about the last 2 seasons of Doctor Who. We could have a whole conversation about that. But the fact that Jodie Whittaker is playing the Doctor is not one of them. The problem is with Chibnall as the showrunner and some of the scripts that she's been handed, so...
But also was plagued by terrible writing, which led to the worst ratings in over 20 years for the show. We can look at Batwoman, which had a...
Stop saying woman like that, you fucking weirdo. Who talks like this?
Absolute huge amount, massive amount of early interest, peaking at 1.86 million viewers on their debut episode, but it did nothing but decline for the entirety of the show.
That's pretty typical of most shows that aren't like Game of Thrones. I'm talking about Game of Thrones at its height, not in the last, 2 or 3 seasons. Most shows will start out with a bunch of people watching at least the first couple episodes, and typically it'll drop down from there. That's pretty common. Of course, it'll be more severe when shows get worse and worse, or if they're just bad, but losing audience members is, common throughout a season.
Showing
Especially nowadays when people are more prone to watch things after the fact on streaming, or they'll pirate it, or they'll rent it on like Amazon Prime or whatever.
Barely any ability to increase the existing audience outside of the crossover events that it had with the other shows in the Arrowverse, ending with a pathetic 739,000 viewers in its finale.
There's
I mean,
nothing funny
shoot.
about the tools of capitalism.
Dude Spanking Dude says, history of Whammon word. Whammon started with PewDiePie as a joke, then some right-wingers and chuds took the word. It's like the word Karen, but it's meant for women in general since it's meant to belittle a woman, and like saying Whammon is irrational. Ah, gotcha. Makes sense. Oh,
I get
Jeremy.
more viewers than that every day in my basement. I mean, I'm just saying, and I've got zero budget. Well, close to zero. I mean, I've got to buy, sugar-free Red Bull and pay an editor once in a while, but
Oh, and that lovely meme war hat that is certainly not embarrassing at all.
outside of that, it was just bad writing. Great concept. Batwoman would have been a decent show had it had, I don't know, actual writing. There were times when it started at 1.86 million. There were times that it had just 630,000 viewers, losing 2/3.
I don't know what the typical is for the CW. Let's take a look at, what's the website he's using? Let me take a look. No, that's kind of hard to read. TVSeriesFinale.com. Let me see what we can find. I don't know. Let's look at Legends of Tomorrow. Because that's sort of a C tier. L. Let me find it. Oh, God. Legends.
There's nothing funny about the tools
Oh,
of
it's not on here
capitalism.
yet. Let me look. Legends of Tomorrow ratings? That's not what I'm looking for. The CW had their own streaming site where you can watch all their content for free on demand within hours of it airing. No TV provider required. Yeah, that could be a thing too. Viewership. There we go. The latest TV ratings, DC's Legend of Tomorrow closed out Season 5 with 729,000 total viewers in the same 0.2 demo rating it was reported all season long. So basically, this Legends of Tomorrow show, which includes a cast of all kinds of people, it has, men and women and all sorts of stuff, is keeping roughly the same amount, and they're in their 5th season, which you'd think would be higher if they were going to... Let's see. Here we go. That's great. So this season started off with a 1.352 because season openers are typically higher, and then it drops down into the 700s. In the middle of the season, it gets down into the 600s, and then 7, 6, 7, 7, and ended on a 7, which I think is even 0.739, 0.7, yeah. Batwoman ended with a stronger finale audience than Legends of Tomorrow, and it's on its 5th season. So... Jeremy, you can't just look at one show in a vacuum. You need to actually look at the other shows on that channel for a similar demographic, and Batwoman demographics are going to be very similar to Legends of Tomorrow. Superhero shows set in the DC universe.
Thirds of its audience. Why do you lose that much of an audience? It's simple.
Because that happens to literally every TV show. We could pick like random TV shows. Let me see what we got. I don't know. America's Next Top Model. Where is the ratings thing? Series has not ended yet. Gotta find one that's ended. Let's say ALF. Although that's gonna be a little different. That was like 30 years ago, so... Why are there not ratings on the thing like there were for other shows? Animorphs. God damn it. Where are the ratings? Let's say The Flash. I'm gonna Control F. The Flash. There we go. Trying to find the ratings. This website's awful. Very unintuitive.
Bad writing, bad choreography, bad acting. That's why you lose it.
Again, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen the show. It might be awful, but it's not awful because it's woke, as Jeremy likes to imply. And it's certainly not any worse off than the other shows on the CW network. It's pulling its weight fine. It's doing fine for a show in its first season. It'll probably pick up more viewers as the first season finds its way onto streaming services like Netflix or HBO Max or wherever it's going to go. And season 2, I don't know, it'll probably get more viewers.
You don't lose
Even if it doesn't, it's doing the same as a show that's in its 5th season, which is pretty good.
it because people are against the main character being a member of the LGBTQ
It's actually doing better than the show that's in its 5th season, so...
community. They wouldn't have been here in the first place.
right,
And by the way, just to
propaganda.
put things in perspective, 1 to 2 million viewers
Thank you,
is
Ferdy
all
Goat, for
any
following.
show on the Arrowverse gets. So ultimately, it would have been deemed a success had it not been circling the drain. Now, we saw
It's probably still considered a success. They're doing a season 2.
the end of the show come around, and Ruby Rose quit. I don't blame her. I wouldn't want to be tied to that disaster either. But
It's probably because she almost got paralyzed and didn't like the amount of work that it took in terms of shooting schedule.
I was in the kitchen, and Kiki came in, looked up at me, and I was like, "Do you want to go see Hannah?" And before I even had it out of my mouth, she sprinted here.
CW fans were stunned when it was announced last week that Ruby Rose would be leaving Batwoman. It's a big deal because she's the one playing Batwoman. The announcement came just after season 1 finale, with season 2 greenlit a long time ago, so why would she just walk away? It's not due to health concerns. Rose recently suffered a severe back injury or harassment. Rose was previously chased off Twitter for being a lesbian actress. That's an unfavorable representation of what happened.
Jeremy never likes to own up to the fact that him covering things in such a negative light and talking about how bad wokeness is, he really doesn't feel that there's a connection between him doing this shit and the fact that people on Twitter get treated like shit whenever he covers them. Does he really not get the A to B on that one? His chud audience listens to what he has to say, gets mad, and then goes on Twitter and screams at people. This has happened multiple times, Jeremy. You got banned from Magic the Gathering tournaments because of this.
Hello, come in. Yes. A wild Baja has appeared. Chat earned a hat because someone generously bought something off of our wish list for our kitty, which will be coming once Kiki and Charlie leave, or hopefully we put in an application to adopt. They purchased the cat tinfoil hat. So thank you, whoever did that. We appreciate it.
She was chased off by her own woke people, by the way. I think they were saying she wasn't gay enough, but rather something more
I very much doubt she left Twitter because enough people were bitching about her not being gay enough.
basic. Variety sources say that Ruby Rose was not thrilled with the long hours required as a series lead, which led to friction on set. CW shows do run longer than most series these days.
Thank you, Xandris.
Xandris, does that mean that you're the one that purchased the kitty tinfoil hat? 'Cause you
And
rock.
Batwoman specifically is a show that obviously shoots a lot at night, which can no doubt be disorientating. And yet the counter to this is, your lead in the TV show, long hours are sort of how it goes, and she clearly wasn't only cast or crew member working this long, so it's possible, perhaps there was more going on here, but this is the reason stated.
Even if other people were willing to go through that and could, as people on the cast or the crew or whatever, it's entirely possible that it just wasn't for her. There are multiple reasons she could have left the show. It's none of my business, particularly. Like, she can do whatever she wants.
Rose's departure is a big deal for her show that Batwoman will have no other choice but to recast Kate Kane entirely instead of writing the other character out. The showrunners have already said, like their first search, they will again cast an LGBTQ actress to play the LGBTQ role. Something they personally feel very strongly about. Again, this is where their head's at, right? Instead of casting the best actor for the role, you make sure you hire the, you're worried about their personal traits, which is dumb. I'm not saying Ruby Rose is a bad actor.
Again, though, it kind of implies that you think that it's impossible for an LGBTQ person to be the best person for the role. Like, out of a pool of people who are, like, gay, whether they're lesbians or gay men or whatever, you're probably going to find people who are just as good or better for the role than people out of an entirely straight pool of people.
I find her kind of stiff. My biggest experience with her was in the John Wick film, I think, right? She is mediocre at best in that. But, you know, her acting was not why the show failed. It was the writing. And regardless of what all the defenders on Twitter...
Oh, thank you.
Twitter would say. Now, they have announced that they have replaced her. And, woo, boy, are we checking a lot of boxes. We have an actress that is basically unknown to most of us.
She's been in multiple things. The other guy that we looked at her IMDb. She's been in many things.
Batwoman has found a new series with Javicia Leslie, or Javicia, I'm not sure how she pronounces it, to step into the cape and cowl for the show's upcoming second season. Quote, I'm extremely proud to be the first black actress to play the iconic role of Batwoman on television. And as a bisexual woman, I'm honored to join this groundbreaking show, which has been such a trailblazer for the LGBTQ plus community, Leslie said. There you have it again. We're still only worried.
Okay, at what point did they say that's the entirety of what they're worried about? It's worth commenting on. Otherwise, people would be like, hey, this isn't it interesting that we got a person of color playing Batwoman? That's not a thing. No one in the Bat family has ever been played by a non-white person before. That's interesting. And it is. It is interesting.
You're still only worried about who they lay in bed with.
Do Jake and I still live together? Jake and I haven't lived together in 5 or 6 years, no.
I mean, I sincerely hope that you're interested in, you know, a good actress. When I looked up her Twitter account, I don't even know if this is her, but, I mean, she's a beautiful woman. I don't know if she can act. If this is her Twitter account, she only has 10,000 followers and isn't very active.
Monk. Thanks
if I
for
look
the 48
at her Instagram,
bits.
I see her sporting feminism socks, which are feminist socks. So that's good to see. We've got the pride flag. We've got everything that you would expect to see from a particular actress being cast for their orientation seemingly exclusive.
Oh my goodness. Again, Jeremy, why do you assume that just because it was a factor in her casting that it's the entirety of the reason? She's probably a fine actress. Why do you need to jump to the conclusion that it's impossible for this bisexual woman of color to be a good actress on top of the fact that she happens to be those things? You always do this, and it always makes you look like a jackass. Jesus Christ.
Now, again, I don't think that Batwoman failed because Ruby Rose was a bad actress. I don't think that's the case. Now, Leslie will portray the new character in the show on the show named Ryan Wilder. She is described as likable, messy, and a little goofy, and untamed. She's also nothing like Kate Kane, previously played by Ruby Rose. The woman who wore the batsuit before her, with no one in her life to keep her on track, Ryan spent years being a naughty girl. Today,
Why you gotta be creepy, Jeremy? That's not what it says. It said she spent years as a drug runner, dodging the GCPD and masking her pain with bad habits. Why you gotta make it creepy, Jeremy? Aren't you like 40? Please stop.
Ryan lives near her in her van with her plant. A girl who would steal milk for an alley cat and could also end you with her bare hands. Ryan is the most dangerous type of fighter, highly skilled and wildly undisciplined. She is an out lesbian, athletic, raw, passionate, fallible, and very much not your stereotypical all-American hero. I mean, who wrote this? I mean,
Have you never read like a press release on a show before? They're always incredibly like twee and like eye-rolling, but that's because it's a press release. It's because they literally said to the person who writes press releases for the CW, hey, here's what the character is, put it up in a little paragraph for a write-up. We're gonna send this to multiple press release places when we have them reveal who we've casted. Like, any show that has ever had a press release has this shit, and it's always weird, because that's not the way you're supposed to present the character. Obviously, if you try and encapsulate any character in a single paragraph, especially by someone who writes press releases, is going to do it in such a way that's a little bit eye-rolly. That's just a thing, Jeremy. Don't you cover media? Shouldn't you know this? You're reading Variety. Have you never read Variety before?
expecting to see quote marks around it, but there are none. Like, Variety wrote that. Variety is shilling for this show.
It probably came directly as a press release. They probably should have put quotes on it, but I guarantee that came directly from the press release they sent to Variety.
That, by the way, sucks. All right? Now, I admit and understand that clearly Batwoman is not for me. In fact, most of the marketing around the show has explicitly told me that. And that's okay. Not every show needs to be for everyone.
Really? Because you make a lot of videos about how butthurt you are that every show isn't made for you, and every video game isn't made for you. Like, you've made about 20 videos in the last month about The Last of Us 2, and how much you don't like it for, like, having gay characters. Like, maybe chill out.
However, you know, the comic book industry, you know, that I cover, it's interesting to me that, you know, you wonder, is this going to sell comic books? No.
It might. I mean, Miss Marvel, for instance, is, or Miles Morales, are instances of inclusiveness within comic books that have led to a widening of the demographic of people that read comic books, especially these days with the streaming apps that you have for comics, whether it be Marvel Now, which I use, not an ad, I just actually like Marvel Now, and DC has a similar version. I don't remember what it's called. Right now I think it's DC Universe, but I'm not sure if it'll continue to be that in the future. Tons of people read comic books now, especially with how popular the movies are. And yes, a lot of people like to read comic books about people who fall into demographics that they are. Jeremy, for instance, I understand if you want to read a comic that's like about a straight white dude with a beard. That's fine. I don't care. That's great. Have that. That's awesome. But when anyone's like, I want a comic book hero who reminds me of myself, whether it be someone who's like a person of color and a lesbian who might want to read about like a Batwoman who fits that same like role, or if it's like, let's say there was a superhero who's like trans and I was into that, you seem to get mad because you don't want there to be diversity. You want to go back to the days of homogeneity, which isn't even a real thing because Marvel Comics has had inclusiveness in their comics for a very long time, since like the 70s. So before you were even born, Jeremy. Jesus Christ.
Now, Leslie takes over leading the series from Rose, who shocked fans when she announced her departure in May.
As Compu says, but don't you know he's the only one in history who ever reads or has read comic books?
And Ruby Rose said,
true.
This is amazing. I'm so glad Batwoman will be played by an amazing black woman. That's the first thing you see? The first thing you worry about is...
Welcome to capitalism, Jeremy. Glad you noticed. Welcome.
Their skin color. I don't get this mindset.
It's a subset of basically rainbow capitalism. You see this in Pride Month when companies like change their logos to a rainbow and are like, we support LGBTQIA rights, which is great. I'd prefer they do that rather than stay silent, because a lot of the messaging in our culture comes from companies. So offshoots of that are things like this, where you're like, oh, this is a Batwoman who is both a person of color and queer. They put that at the front because they know that will get a lot of people to watch the show. You don't have to like it, I guess, Jeremy, but bitching about it seems very out of touch with reality and the reality of the systems that we live within, right?
I wanted to congratulate her on taking over the Batcape. You are walking into an amazing cast and crew. I can't wait to watch season 2. You're going to be amazing. Hey, maybe she will be. I mean, prior to being in Batwoman, she starred on the CBS series God Friended Me, which aired for 2 seasons. The show was produced by Warner Brothers Television. She also starred in the BET series The Family Business and the film Always a Bridesmaid. So she's got a couple of things on her under her belt. She is rep by Nobody Cares. Batwoman is produced by the Berlanti Productions and associated with Warner Brothers. The show is scheduled to return in January on Sunday nights. Now, I suspect we will see another small spike in the initial ratings.
Well, usually the season opener of any show has a spike in ratings because people are more likely to sit down and watch the season premiere live than they are like episode, 5 out of 12 or whatever. So I'm sure you will, but that's mostly because of the fact that it's the first episode of the season. But yeah, people will probably also watch because, we have a new actress. If they didn't like Ruby Rose, for instance, maybe they'll come on and try and see if they like it with season 2 because there's a new lead. Who knows?
I don't think, look, obviously they're going to recast the role. They really didn't have any options. But I don't think that this is going to help the show if they don't drastically change the writing. Of course, everybody in the woke community is extremely proud. I'm curious, though, how is she playing Batwoman?
The woke community, a.k.a. most of the people on the internet who are happy to see more inclusiveness in all facets of everyday life.
When she's not actually a bat. That's the biggest concern I have. Like, why is this woman taking roles away from bats? Bats...
Oh, is this his attempt at a joke? Is this as close as he can get to trying to be funny? Valiant attempt, Jeremy. Bold of you to attempt humor while wearing the cringiest hat in human history.
Need to support their bat families too, but for whatever reason,
this would make sense if you were talking about Man-Bat, not Batwoman. Get better jokes, Jeremy.
Javicia thinks that she's above that. Bats are extremely underrepresented in Hollywood, and it's a little off-putting to see her stealing roles from the hard-working bat actors who are relegated to B.
Is this an exercise in seeing how long you can stretch out one joke? Because we're coming up on like almost a minute, and it's just the same joke.
Roles as kind of spooky things. We're never really going to get to see the bats for who they really are, and for that I am extremely disappointed. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Oh, Jeremy, embarrassing as always. So, that's, I guess, a tale of two chuds. We have Robert Storms, who seems to be improving and genuinely, has a good opinion. Hey, inclusiveness is great, and before you bitch about this thing, why don't you go ahead and watch it? And then on the other hand, you, of course, have the Quartering, who is doing what he always does, complaining constantly. Thank you, Clockwork God Complex, for extending your subscription through August. Thank you very much. And Ask Compu says, is he dehumanizing people of color by comparing them to bats? I think he's just telling a bad joke. He's just telling a bad fucking joke. That's enough of the quartering for today.